philosophical questions about the human nature and the human condition. Where does your self-worth come from? I laugh because I have battled with this question for a while. Not me personally. I've been blessed enough to have known that young. Where does your self-worth come from? I have a short answer. It comes from yourself. There are two pools of people. There is the victim and there is the fighter. You know who you are. The victim is someone who uses their upbringing as a justification for not choosing to change their family tree and who they are. Going back to the previous video, check it out. We spoke about what's the meaning of life, the purpose of life. And the answer was to change your family tree. Now back to this question. Self-worth, they're linked. Self-worth. So the victim person, the victim mentality is one who doesn't want to change their family tree, where they look at what they have been through and sometimes rightfully justify saying, because of A, B, C, and D, this is where I am. And sometimes it's not their fault because they only realize it maybe through counseling or through somebody helping them understand that what they're going through might not be normal or might not be right, or it might be normal, but it's not conducive for growth. The victim is someone who knows they're a victim and chooses to use that as a crutch to not progress, to not move forward. I'm sure you know people who have been through situations that are crazy and they come out smiling. Are they just born super strong? I would go as far as to say it's not about where you came from that defines your worth. It partly is, but it's about the spirit in you. I guess this could be linked to your family tree as well. What is your family tree? Is your family fighters? If not, you have to change your family tree and become that fighter in there. I know families that all like 3 or 4 or 5 kids in the family have had the same upbringing, but only one of them is a fighter and they come out different. It's not the environment, it's an environment. But it's a spirit in them to fight. I don't mean like a very short-tempered person. I mean a spirit of someone who is emotionally intelligent, which by the way requires work. It's not given to you. And also somebody who is willing to learn about themselves. That person can break generational curse and find their worth. Or should I say, choose their worth? Let me put it this way. Your self-worth comes from the choices you make. You choose your value. You can prostitute yourself and lower your self-worth. I'm not talking about sexually here. You can prostitute. You could sell your values, your morals. You could sell yourself by being a people pleaser. You could sell yourself by not following your dream, but following what other people think is best. Your self-worth will start from understanding that you are in control. You cannot control everything. But the things you can control, you can control them. How can I put it? There's many moments in my life where a sudden rush of panic happens, like a panic attack, but not really, where I'm in the middle of just doing life, maybe on a long drive somewhere or having some dinner, Tesco dinner. And memories flash back of moments in my life where, I made a mistake here or I could have done this better. And the way that I found my self-worth in those moments, or the way I caught myself and protected myself, was I used two methods. Ant Middleton, in his recent book, talks about the fear bubble. And I've been using it and it works. I recommend this book. I'll link it down below. It's Audible. I'm not sponsored by Audible yet, but it changed my viewpoint on self-worth. The first one I use is the fear bubble technique. And what that is a lot of people, and I've seen it, if you have anxiety or depression, this will really help you. A lot of people get tired because they're always in a state of fear or panic or worry, and it's constant. I never knew this. But what Ant said is, instead of always panicking about something, panic about it when it's happening. He's not saying, don't panic. It's just saying control the panic. So for me personally, the way I use it is, when it comes to a work thing, let's say I have a lot of things I gotta do, tasks I gotta do. Instead of me, the night before thinking about I gotta do A, I gotta do B, I gotta do C. What I do is I shut my mind off from the entire idea of work until maybe 2 hours before I start working. Because the issue is, if you are thinking about it all night, it ruins your sleep. And when you wake up, you're exhausted. And the moment you now want to do that thing, you're so exhausted, you basically give up. It's kind of like childbirth. I know it sounds a bit childbirth, how they linked. If someone's started labor, they recommend to not make too much noise or to just keep calm even though the pain is there. Because if they just keep screaming through the first sign of labor until they need to push, they can't push because they've just exhausted their entire energy. And in that moment, the mother's life is at risk and the child's life is at risk, all because they chose to panic from the beginning. What I do is I just realize, you know what? It's not happening yet. Whatever that could be. When it happens, panic then. You are allowed to panic then. I allow myself to say, I'm going to panic on this time. And I shut it down completely. And I actively make it a choice to just say, you know what? I'm going to block this time to just work and panic. And once that's done, I can turn it off completely and go into my molecule bubble. The fear bubble helped me find my worth because it made me realize that I can control my emotions. The fear bubble technique works because it lets you understand that you truly are in control. And when you realize that you can choose to feel an emotion in a period of time, it makes you ready for it. You relax until you gotta go, do it, go, work, panic, I don't know, study, make that phone call, send that email, call that person, I don't know. And my self-worth was found in knowing that almost every emotion can be controlled if you choose to have that emotion when something happens. So for example, one thing that I I wanted to test it myself was being comfortable in my own skin, like in a crazy level. So what that would mean is I wanted to be able to be confident enough to just walk in the middle of town in like some shorts and a top. Because normally for me, I like to dress well, but it's like, can I really walk in town in like some slippers and some random JD Sports shorts and like a top and like some ugly headphones? Because I care about my appearance. And I'm like, you know what? You always care about others' feelings towards you. You need to kill that. You will find more joy. And after trying the fear bubble technique, I was able to just, one day, my bed, just chill, get in my car, go to town, packed town, just walk around. Just to test would this mindset work? And it worked. And in the moment I was walking, I'm thinking, oh, this is not good. I should have put on my nice jacket, my nice shoes, everything like that. I realized that I am in full control. And in that moment, you realize that you have worth because you choose what that worth is. And for me, it's trying my best to control my emotions. Even though I think they're under control, but you still need to always progress forward. The first one is a fear bubble technique. That's how you find your self-worth, because there is self-worth. And the second one that I use, it's questionable, is talking to yourself, but not in a crazy way. You are your worst enemy and your best friend. Unless you love yourself, it's tough for you to love others. Any change that happens internally, then externally. If it happens externally first and then internally afterwards, oftentimes to you, it can be perceived as not genuine, or if that stimulus changes, then I will maybe go back to it. That's why in counseling, it's mainly focusing on you as a person, you understanding yourself. It's not focused on them trying to pump into you, you have worth. No. So when I say talk to yourself, what I mean is when you feel any emotion, speak in it, give it more strength, And saying it and speaking it and saying that it has no power removes that power from it. So if you start panicking, just say, calm down. I know it sounds crazy, like I do that. But it's more about if you say it with the intention that you know that the words you speak have power to yourself, they will have that power. It's like a placebo, but not really. It can affect you in a positive way, a negative way. That's why it's dangerous to say, I have no value, I have no self-worth, because the words you say become who you are. So positively saying, you know what, calm down, breathe, nothing's happening, panic when it happens, that could really help. My self-worth comes from me understanding that I'm in control. But it also comes from my DNA and family, The way parents love each other can rub off, not can, it does rub off on the children. So if I don't acknowledge that a lot of my self-worth has come from a loving family, I'm stupid. So yes, my family are loving and my self-worth is part of that. But even if they weren't, I would have to work hard to understand that self-worth is something that can be given, but it is far stronger when you choose it. You choose your self-worth. And you fight everything. You fight yourself. You actively make a choice to say, I think I want to do A, B, C to myself. And you say, you know what? No. And the question is, why would I do that? If I want to hurt myself, if I have no value in myself, why fix myself? And the answer is, so you can change your family tree. This is tough. Comment below what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching.